Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 7 of Dragon Prince. Yeah, sorry for being a day late and everything. You guys already at this point would know why it happened and all, so I'm not going to repeat myself regarding that. But I am getting to it now, and I am excited for more of this, because this series is proving to be pretty good. Not amazing or anything, not like phenomenal, and definitely not the best series I'm reacting to, but it's pretty good. I enjoy it. So last time, we had a couple things going on, but the main thing is that the egg of the Dragon Prince seems to be not in good shape after what happened. And on top of that, Rayla has started to reveal everything to the princes, and yeah, basically, things aren't going as well as anyone hoped. Meanwhile, we have Viren sending his children out to retrieve the egg and kill the princes, because he wants to take over, because he's a greedy, evil bitch, and I don't like wishing ill on people, but fuck it, he's a fictional character. I mean, it's fiction. I can differentiate fiction from reality, so fuck him. I hope he gets what's coming to him. I hope he gets the shit kicked out of him, honestly. Hell, I'd love it to be by Amaya. Or, is it Amaya? The aunt of the princes. Just because of what he did, like backstabbing her and everything, by tying up her right hand in the first place, who was supposed to go on the mission, and then sending his own children. Which I'm really surprised she didn't account for. Or at least we don't know if she accounted for it, to be fair. But we also had, so yeah, one of the children, the son, was told that his goal is to kill the princes. And he'd make it look like an accident or whatever, but that is his kind of secret goal. While the daughter's secret goal is to get the dragon egg back at any cost, even if it means sacrificing her brother to do so. Which just even more continues to show how vile and sickening and disgusting Viren is. The fact that he's so obsessed with this that he's willing to sacrifice his own son. And think about it. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but think about this. He knows he's been hiding the dragon egg. This dragon egg that, if returned to the mountain, could very possibly end this war and end this strife between humans and magical creatures. And he likely knows that it could. Which means that his goal here is straight up genocide. He wants to kill all of these magical creatures and take their land and claim dominance. Basically, you could say he's a human supremacist. He sees humans as superior to magical creatures like elves and dragons and whatnot. And he believes that they have the right to all the land and shit. He is basically, by definition, a human supremacist. And I'll be damned if this is not a parallel, a intentional parallel on the current state of our world with all of the supremacists that we have, especially here in America, but all over the world. I'll be damned if that's not a noticeable and intentional parallel. And, of course, he tries to paint it off as being for the greater good, being for the good of humanity, and he paints all magical creatures as just being inherently evil, inherently bad, and disgusting and shit. And it's the same kind of it's the same kind of vile shit that white supremacists here in America, especially in the recent years, it's the same kind of shit that they spew regarding black people or Mexicans or immigrants in general. Anyone who's not white and cis, basically. A white, cisgendered, straight person. If you're not white, cisgendered, and straight, and especially male, then you're pretty much ground zero for discrimination. And in this case, they're not going like super far with Veer and making him like extremely just racist in terms of humanity or anything. No. It's just in terms of humans and magical creatures. He sees humanity as vastly superior. And this kind of reminds me of a game that I've been getting kind of reacquainted with lately because the Game Grumps have been streaming it. And that is Undertale. In Undertale, you find out through the lore of the world and everything that the monsters are not the monsters, that it's the humans who are the monsters. That humanity is what drove these monsters underground and literally sealed them down there to separate them. Humanity fucking sucks, basically. And it just reminds me of that because, you know, humans being dicks to magical creatures and everything and basically causing all the problems that plague them. Because in Dragon Prince, it's like all of this was basically started by humanity. I mean, I will not deny, according to what we have been told, the magical creatures have done their share of negative stuff as well. I will not deny that. But that seems more in retaliation. It seems more like it's self-defense, basically, than anything else. And, I mean, that kind of stuff doesn't excuse, necessarily, horrible actions. But it does explain them. And in contrast, you have the other side, which just kind of started shit for no reason, basically. And it's just like, it's so irksome. But yeah, our heroes are trying to get the dragon egg to the mountain to try and restore peace and everything. And as we can see, Viren doesn't want that because Viren, again, human supremacist, wants to basically take out all the magical creatures and establish dominance, just period, in the world. And so that is exactly why he's sending out his children to kill them and even possibly go on a suicide mission. Because he lied in the first place about them being dead. And then when he was told they were alive, you could see how freaking upset he was at it. And there's certain scenes in this where it tries to paint Viren as like having a heart or having like some moral compass. But it's like every time it tries that, it feels so unnatural for his character. Like there's that one part where he's talking to Amaya, where they're like at the statue of her sister. And it might be Amara, but either way. And he's it seems like he's being really genuine and kind and everything. And it feels so completely out of character for him. Like, it actually bothers me from a character perspective. Because it does not fit anything we've seen of him before. Anytime he's, like, nice like that. Anytime he's kindly. Anytime he's gentle or whatnot. It always feels fake. Even really early on in the series, when he was such with the king, it always felt fake. And it's just like, well, now what? He's just so obviously evil. He's designed clearly to be evil. Now, I don't think his children are, though. They have shown some hesitation, especially when getting their secret missions. I definitely think they're going to betray him, for lack of a better word. They're going to turn to the good side. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to be in this season, and if it is, I don't know if it's going to be before the end or if it's going to be at the end. I don't know. But all I can say for sure is that I just really think that this series, while good, does really have to establish a few things and really have to get things moving a little more, or at least build some things up in a more interesting way. Because it's like right now it just seems like it's prepping still. It feels like it's prepping. This is the 7th episode of the series, and it feels like it's still preparing to get started. And that's not exactly the best thing. That's not what you want. And the final thing I'll mention, though, is that this season is 9 episodes. So there's 2 more episodes after this episode, after today's. So the question is, what to do? What are we going to do with those last 2 episodes? Are we going to just do them weekly still, or are we going to do a week with 2 of them? And what's happening after? Well, simple answer for that last part. What's happening after? We will be taking a break before going on to season 2 to switch things up, especially with the reward reactions having gone down to 1 at a time for the moment until JoJo finishes, because again, that'll finish before MLP. After JoJo finishes, we'll bring up a second slot on Thursdays for that. But in the meantime, it's one show right now, so we want to keep being able to switch it up as we can. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next series after that. I don't know yet if we're gonna just do 2 more weeks of this, or if next week we'll just finish it. I'll keep you updated regarding that. Maybe I'll even decide by the end of this episode. We'll just kind of have to see. But yeah, I don't know where this is going. I know nothing about this episode, so we're just gonna find out what we've got. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so yeah, another really good episode. With some interesting twists and turns. So this one focuses, it does have an A plot and a B plot, but Viren's not really involved in it. Neither is Amaya or Amara, whatever her name is. The A plot is, of course, our main heroes, while the B plot focuses on Soren and Claudia going on their mission to find the kids, to find the princes. So let's talk about the B plot first. So yeah, it's really simple. So that's why we're kind of going through it first. Soren and Claudia are tracking the princes. At first, they start to use the best tracking dogs they got, but it comes to a dead end. So they instead end up starting to search for things they need to create like this tracking spell. Of course, on Claudia's suggestion, because she's the magic user. Soren almost lets slip his secret mission, which would not probably go well. Because, again, it's like, I don't think either of them are bad people. I think they're just kind of following their father because he's their father, kind of thing. So I think that if she does find out about his mission, and if he finds out about hers, then there will probably be some issue with that on both sides. And I don't think either of them are super comfortable with their own missions. So there's that as well. Um, but yeah, they end up finding like these glowing spores and everything, and now they have to climb to the top of the tallest mountain because it's a fun spell. um, so there's still a little bit of work they have before they'll catch up with our heroes, but most likely that's kind of where it's going to end up with this first season, I assume. They're going to catch up with our heroes, and maybe that's when they're going to learn about how their father is a lying piece of shit. Um, that I feel would be a good way to end off the season, actually. But meanwhile, on our A plot, the princes and Rayla arrive in this small village. Rayla is pretending to be a human and being ridiculously terrible at it. It's almost like Cass from Supernatural pretending to be human. Um, he's just so bad at it. It's hilarious and adorable. Um, but yeah, so she's terrible at it, but she's kind of blending into enough of a degree. So they decide to head their separate ways after they see this dude kind of performing with this Sunforge blade, kind of this little dagger thing that retains the heat from when it was first forged and is able to be sheathed thanks to like this magic seal on the sheath itself. Um, which is a really fantastic idea. Like I love the idea of that. Um, so Rayla's going to follow him because she wants to try and use it to cut her binding off, while the princes are going to try and look for any kind of help they can regarding the egg. So she follows this guy who again I just refer to as Seahawk. Um, because let's be honest, personality wise and everything, he's Seahawk from She-Ra. Which is, I'm not saying that is a bad thing, by the way. Um, but yeah, she follows him and he kind of gets freaked out by it, which I really actually didn't expect. I thought he was going to expect her to be following him. Um, but she ends up overpowering him, taking the blade, and it doesn't work. Which basically kind of implies that unless this healer, this mystery magical um, miracle healer, unless this lead works, I don't think there's anything that can take that off of her. Um, but that's where the princes come in. Callum and Ezran head to this veterinarian. And they try to kind of word their way around it, but eventually just reveal the egg to him, um, asking for his help to try and figure out what's wrong with it or if it can be saved. And he's, of course, fascinated by Dragon Egg, but he, surprisingly enough, does not rat them out and does not want to get them in trouble. He's actually a really cool, good person. Um, so he inspects the egg a little bit and notices that the heartbeat is fading and that it means that the dragon inside is dying. And he says there's really nothing that they can do about it at this point. Um, and that's when, of course, as they're leaving, he brings up the story of how this girl had saved this wolf cub and it had to have its leg amputated, and eventually the leg got restored by this miracle healer on this super dangerous mountain. They love super dangerous mountains with this show, don't they? um, but yeah. Um, so that's fun. Either way. Either way. So we see that this is kind of their last hope. This is kind of all they've got left at this point. My initial theory was that maybe the Sunforge blade could have worked. Like maybe that the dragon egg, all it needed was heat, and something like that would possibly be able to give it the heat it needed. I don't know. That's kind of where my mind went to. But it doesn't seem like that's the case, and it doesn't seem like Seahawk is joining the team after all. Which he definitely felt like a type of character who would. So it's really interesting that he's not. But yeah, that just was unexpected, basically. So yeah, he rats them out and chases them out of town, Ezrin, Callum, and Rayla, and they head up to the dangerous mountain. And the villagers are like, no, let's just stop. They're dead anyway, basically. So they're heading up, hoping to find this mystery healer. Now, the mystery healer, we didn't get a good look at her, I assume. It definitely seemed feminine. But what we did see is that she did have some braids. And my initial thought was the braids kind of made me think of Rayla, because obviously Rayla's braid was mentioned in this episode, straight up. So I instantly had thought of that, and it's like, could it be an elf? And I guess the possibility's there. But then there was the entire thing about how this spell in particular requires, for Soren and what's-her-face, that the spell requires them to go up on the highest mountain. I'm like, what if this is the highest mountain? What if that is someone who had used that spell? And maybe now someone so well-versed in magic like her will be able to help. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways I feel this could go, and I really don't know which one it's going to take. But I am really enjoying this. Day late, better than never, right? I'm really enjoying this. I really have fun with this series, and I hope to continue doing so. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Dragon Prince, and yeah, tell me just what you're thinking of this series so far. If you've seen all of it so far, or even all of Season 1, please, no spoilers. And thank you so much for continuing to support the channel, even with all of the mess-ups and mix-ups and delays we end up having. For now, though, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,